Hello there, my stamping friends. Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. So I have a holiday card to share with you today. This is what I'm going to be creating for you. I'm using the Leaves of Holly stamp set, and I'm pairing it with the Boughs of Holly coordinating designer series paper. So all my colors are coming directly from my designer series paper. I'm using the Evening Evergreen, I'm using Old Olive, Real Red, and then Whisper White for my sentiment here, which is also there. Okay, so let's just get started, and I'm going to show you all the parts and pieces and put this card together for you. Okay, so I have my card base and our standard card base. I just half a sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 11, cut down to 8.5 by 5.5, and then a piece of designer series paper, which is 4 by 5 1/4. So you can get 6 card panels this size out of a 12 by 12 sheet of DSP. So I'm just adding some of our liquid glue to the back and putting that right on the center of my card. So very basic front to our cards. So that's an easy way to use up your DSP and make really pretty cards to start with. Okay, now we have to do some die cutting. So I'm going to be using this label die that comes with the coordinating dies. And first I cut it out of a piece of Evening Evergreen, and when I do that, we end up with this piece here. Okay, so I had to use my my brush to get all those little pieces out, but it worked just fine. So there's my first die. Then I'm going to come in with this funny looking die, right? And what it does is it cuts a piece like this. Okay, so from my old olive piece, I cut this die out, and what this is going to do is it's going to go behind there to give me the two-tone leaves. So I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive, just a couple of dabs, and then I'm going to press that second green onto the back of this label die. Okay, so take your time and be patient, and then I'm just going to position those two. It's the same cut, so it should just line right up with your edges, and I'm just going to press that down so that the two pieces of cardstock adhere together. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for a second. So you see I've got those two tones. Now I have a piece of Real Red, and I have these two little berry dies, right? And so I've got two dies here. So now that I've got those die cut, again, I'm just going to put the two pieces together. So I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back of the detail die, and I'm going to add it to the whole die. Now there's also coordinating stamps, so if you wanted to stamp this and then just use the outline die to do the full die cutting for you, you wouldn't have to piece the two layers together, but I really liked the way the two layers give us that little extra pop to the card. So just pressing that down, give it a second to adhere. Okay, so that's going to be my little embellishment there in the corner. But then I was like, I really want a white labeled sentiment to make this expression pop. So here's a little fancy cutting for you. So I started with Whisper White, and I die cut that same label die, right, because I need that same shape, but I have this leaf over here. I don't want to cover that up. So I die cut this. You can see it's a little bit thinner than the full die because I don't need this in the end. So that was cut number 1. Then, this is what I ended up with, cut number 1. Then I came in with this die again, and I set it here, okay, and I cut off that piece there, right? I cut that piece off. And then I just need to remove this outside edge. Now I have an inset label to go on my green label. Okay, so that's just going to sit right in there because it's the same size and shape, right? Because we use the same dies, and then that'll just go over the corner to tie it all together. So before I put that on, though, I want to stamp my sentiment. So I have already set my From Our House to Yours and Season's Greetings onto my clear block here. And I'm going to ink that up with the Evening Evergreen. Everything's going to be tied right back to that main color. And you can see I've set my sentiment so it's a little offset, but it fits the die. Okay, it fits the cut. So I just laid my sentiments out on my die cut, then I put my block down so that I can get it all lined up. So there is my sentiment. So now this is going to go on top of my green die. So I'm just going to add some adhesive there and just line this up right over the top, right? Because remember, it's the same die, it's the same shape. It fits right over the top. And then this whole piece is going to get some adhesive. I'm going to put that right down on my card. Then I'm going to bring in one dimensional just to give these fairies a little bit of height. So I put that down, and then I'm just going to place this over the top, tie all those pieces together, and we have our holiday greeting card. So there you go. So it's a little fancy die cutting work, and figuring out how to get that inset with the two dies combined was a little bit tricky, but now I've shown you how to do it, so you can go ahead and do it on your own cards. Make great use of those labels and those dies. And other than some die cutting, which a lot of it was done out of scrap work, you can make lots of fun cards this way. So go have some fun with your new holiday purchases and enjoy this fun tutorial. Remember, you can hop over to my blog for more detailed listings on the products I used and the steps I took, and of course see all the other projects I'm sharing, not all just the ones here on the videos. And also remember to subscribe below on the bell so that when I share more videos with you here on YouTube, you'll get notified. Alright guys, see you again soon. Happy stamping!